Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series. Check it out, guys. We've got an original PS1 here. I bought this PS1 at a Savers, which is like a Goodwill, very similar. It says $6.99. It's not actually what I paid for it. Orange was on sale that day. This only cost me $5.50, and the only reason I bought it was to make a video to show you guys how to clean and restore one of these things. Because I know this is a very common system. A lot of people have it, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who have problems with this system and they can't get it to work, and I'm here to try and help you get it to work, or at least make it look better if it already works. There's a lot of versions of the original PS1. This is somewhere in between. Okay, so here's my launch model version of the PS1, and it's very similar. You got your serial ports on the back. You have these other type of serial. Well, these are parallel ports, serial ports, AV out, power. The difference here is that you see there's they have composite and video like jacks just like right on the system, which is neat but pointless if you use S-Video or RGB SCART, which is actually what I would recommend for the PS1. There were later revisions where they actually removed the parallel ports. So yours might look like that. It may not have anything there. It may not have anything here. I think they actually got rid of the serial port too. I think there are versions of the PS1. As they go on, they just remove more and more of those ports. And I think there are versions out there that just have power and just have the AV/S-Video port. But anyway, this cleaning process should work on any one of those. That's a very similar shell. Obviously, it looks exactly the same except for that small problem. So, as you can see, this one, it's not really that bad, honestly. It's just got a big sticker on it, some scuffs, probably some dust on there a little bit on the outside, probably some on the inside. Admittedly, this one is not particularly bad looking, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn how to restore one and clean one and fix one if you want to. So we'll just start with that. We'll start by flipping this over, because on the bottom we have 6 screw points, right there, right there, right there, right there, there, and there. And fortunately, this just requires a standard Phillips head screwdriver. Once you've got your screws out, like that, basically it's very simple. You just lift, and that's it. The inside, as we can see here, well, maybe you can't see it, I can. There is layers of dust all over the lid, and that looks like that'll clean up pretty easily. You'll also notice that the plastic, if you have this piece, will just fall off immediately, so don't really worry about it. The inside is actually not too bad. There's a little bit of dust right there. There's some dust around the laser assembly, but that's about it. And then that's the inside of a PS1, everybody. It's not a very complicated looking system. You just have your laser assembly, you got your motherboard underneath, your controller ports here, and your power supply. Pretty simple, basic design. In the case over here, we got the lid. It's a little bit more complicated, I guess. It's just got buttons on it, and yeah, it looks more complicated than most, in my opinion anyway, than most lids, but whatever. It doesn't make it particularly challenging to clean it up. All we got to do here is we're going to pop out some of these buttons. This is the reset button. Just kind of push in on the sides, push down. Reset button comes right out. And then we got our, what is this? That's the power button. Push, again, push on the sides and pop out the power button. And same goes for, this is going to be a little bit trickier. Push down on the reset button there. Push in, push down, and pull on it a little bit, and it comes right out. So that will make it much easier. Oh look, there's a giant spring there, which you should probably remove. Just remember to put that back right there. Put that to the side somewhere. But yeah, now I can go ahead and clean up this lid. In order to do that, I'm just going to use soap and water and a brush and just kind of scrub. This is that kind of dust that's like not... Well, frankly, it's just kind of stuck on there. It won't blow off or anything. You have to rinse this off. And that'll be good because it'll just have less dust inside of the electronics. But yeah, whether or not that's making it work or not, I have no idea. But moving on over here, I'm going to be honest with you. There doesn't seem to be any reason to tear this system apart. I could, remove all these screws and get to the motherboard and get to the bottom of the case. But the bottom of the case, even from this little small part here, yeah, it's got a little bit of dust on it, but it's not really worth tearing the thing apart. So I'm not going to do that. I apologize if you wanted to see that happen, but it's just not necessary to do it. So yeah, why don't I go ahead and clean up that lid. Okay, I've rinsed it off, and a lot of the dust that was on the inside is, well, actually I would say all the dust that was on the inside is completely gone now. Granted, it wasn't that dusty to begin with, but it is better. And of course, if your system is as dusty or dustier, hopefully dustier if you're watching this, then it should be cleaner in that regard. So, alright, now there's a couple things that a simple cleaning did not take care of. We have over here, we have this big scuff mark, and over here, of course, we have that sticker. Now, I don't generally talk about stickers because generally people aren't stupid enough to put a sticker on the system, which is annoying. I hate when that does happen, but you know, from time to time it does happen. So, yeah. So I'll show you how to get rid of this. What I do is I use an adhesive remover. This is a pretty common item to find at like a Target or Walmart or whatever. And basically, you just kind of put it on like this, and then just kind of let it sit. And it just kind of, well, some of that's water, but it'll rip apart. Basically, it eats through the adhesive, and just later it'll just kind of peel off. So I'll leave that on there to eat away at that. But on the other side, over here, the way we're going to handle this is this. This is Mr. Clean's Magic Eraser. If you've been watching this series for any length of time, I'm sure you know what this is. So I'll just throw that down. If you don't know, it's basically this like white foam powder stuff. It's like it's basically like a little sandpaper with some bleach in it. Very fine sandpaper. And it'll clean the crap out of anything like this. Watch this. Just go ahead and rub that over that a few times, and completely gone, which is amazing. Just a little bit there, just a little residual. Now, of course, it leaves a little bit of dust on there, but that's no big deal because we can go and rinse it off. So, but just be careful with that stuff, because if I had used it on like the Sony logo would be gone. If you used it on a PlayStation, that'd be gone. So what we're going to do now, actually let's check. Maybe this is already ready to be ripped off. And it's not perfect, but some of that is mostly the water. If I had put that on there when the sticker was dry, it probably would have come off better. But as you can see, a lot of this is just sticking and gross. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse this whole thing underwater again to get rid of that dust. And then I will come back, I will put more of this on there, and then eventually just kind of remove all of that. Taking a look at it again, the scuff is obviously gone, rinsed off, the dust is gone as well. And on this side, sticker's completely gone, no residual adhesive because I used adhesive remover. So now all I have to do is let it dry because it's plastic and it's wet, and you don't want to put it back together while the plastic is wet because you don't want to screw up the electronics. So let's just put that off to the side and let that dry. Now I'll bring in the system itself. Now, as I said before, I'm not taking this apart because there's no real reason to. So there's only a few things we can do to clean this up. This is obviously not a cartridge system, so if the laser assembly is shot, then that's just it. There's nothing else you can really do. But there are certain little tweaks that people don't typically know about to actually make the system work, provided it isn't working. Your laser may not actually be shot if it's not reading games. It might just be dirty. It might just be the system in general. So we're going to do what we can. First, we're going to take some compressed air, and I'm just going to spray it around and get dust out of there, because getting dust out is always a good way to improve the odds of a system you picked up at a thrift store. You know, it's working. It's a good way to improve the odds that it'll work. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. Alright, sorry, I know that was a little annoying, but I got some good dust clumps out of there. Nothing too bad. I mean, it's really not that dusty of a system. So, you know, I mean, you could, if you want to try and clean cartridge, you know, ports, like, or sorry, the little memory card slots and the controller, you could do that, but they're really not too bad. Maybe you could try and clean the contact points on those things. But the most important thing to do would be to clean the laser. And the way I would do this is, and I do this, and I'm about to do this, is I grab some Windex, also known as Windoline in certain parts of the world, a ammonia-based glass cleaner. You just spray some onto a Q-tip like this. Alright. And then you just go over the laser unbelievably gently and just kind of rub it like that a couple of times. Alright. And then you flip it over to the dry side. Do the same thing. And that should get out whatever little residual dust was on the laser. And yeah, now all I got to do, maybe I'll kind of clean this part, this little plastic part that's exposed. I'll probably clean that up with, like, what the hell, I'll take the same Q-tip and just kind of go like this and get out any residual dust I can get, because any dust you get out of the system is a good thing, because that'll just improve the odds that the thing will work. See, there was some dust on there, so that's good. Okay, our plastic is now completely and totally dry, no moisture of any kind, so it's time to put the system back together. So we're gonna put the buttons back into place. Now remember, there's a spring that goes into the power button. So we go ahead and we now take our power button and just put that into place, nice and clicky. Take our reset button and then pop that into place as well. That won't be clicky yet. And our open button, which we can now put in just like that, and that one will be clicky. So now we can close our lid, and that's the lid being put back together. Now it's time to put it onto the board here. So we'll just take the front like this, controller ports like that, and it really that's it. Just goes right back on. Very nice, very simple. And then on the back, we of course have our little extra plastic parallel port cover, assuming your version of the PS1 has this. Then you put it down, like so, and we take our 6 screws, like that, and just pop them all back into place, all 6 points. I have it back together, and it looks pretty good, but I guarantee that we can get this to look a little bit better, especially around the points where I had to use Mr. Clean's Magic Eraser. I want to try and bring out a little bit more luster to the system, and so in order to do that, I'm going to use some Pledge. This is just orange Pledge. There's lemon Pledge. There's also moisturizing Pledge, but don't use that. That actually leaves a little bit of a film on the thing. So just go with like regular kinds of Pledge. So all you do for this is you spray some on a paper towel, and then you rub it around on the system like so. And just give it a nice, basically just a nice shiny coat of this. And this will help protect it from dust. It'll be less likely to get dusty over time. It'll also restore some of the original shine and luster the system had. Be careful when you go inside. Don't touch the laser, obviously. And I'm going to go ahead and cover the rest of the top and the sides and the bottom and everything. And then I'll let it dry for a bit, and I'll show you what it ends up looking like. But I will warn you in advance, obviously the PS1 is a gray system. It is not black. It will not change a whole lot. This works the best on black consoles, not so much on white or gray ones, but it will bring a little bit more of a shine to it. And of course, if there's any residual dust you missed in like cracks or wherever, it'll probably come out when you do that. It's had a little bit of time to sit. And I hope you can see it at least. It is shinier. It does look cleaner. It does look newer and nicer. It doesn't look like amazingly better. I'll completely admit that. But part of that is, of course, the fact that it's a gray system. And frankly, it wasn't that dirty to begin with. But if your system is dirtier, then, then yours could look a lot better now, couldn't it? Yeah, so I think it cleaned up pretty well. It looks pretty good to me, except for like little plastic cuts that, there's a little bit of cuts in the plastic. Nothing I can do about that. That's just how it is now. But yeah, I hope the system works, because I only picked it up just to make this video, just for you guys, in case anyone out there wants to see how to clean up a PS1, because I get asked to do that video every once in a while. So yeah, to all you guys who wanted to know how, now you can see the process. Got the console all set up here, and I think it's looking pretty good. I'm going to test it with Twisted Metal 2, which is my favorite PS1 game of all time. So let's just go ahead and pop that in and cross our fingers and hope it works. Power it up. Now I've got it running through SCART, RGB SCART, and that's the best way to get image quality out of the PS1, unless of course you use an actual PS3, which frankly I would recommend. And I've got a PS2 controller set up there. Very friendly with other devices, I guess I should say. I don't want to call that backwards compatibility, I'll call that forwards compatibility. So you saw that first screen, which is good. The second screen means it actually acknowledged the disc. And aha! Third one means it is reading it. As you can see there, it is reading the disc just fine. Now, the PS1 is incredibly fickle. If you're having disc reading issues after all this and you have it laying flat, I highly recommend you put it up on its side or even upside down like that. It won't hurt anything. There's a laser issue with the PS1, or gravity can kind of help take over and fix the issue. Basically, when Sony designed these things, they put there you go, see the games running there. Basically, Sony put the lasers in a bad position, and they cooked themselves over time. So having gravity kind of compensates for that. Yeah. Anyway, looks pretty good. RGB SCART, man, on the PS1. That's the way to do it. Unless, of course, again, you have a PS3. But anyway, I'm going to turn this off now. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you learned how to clean up a PS1. See you guys later.